Hi everyone, this is Emily speaking, and welcome back to Daily English Talk. Before we dive into today's episode, take 1 second, literally just 1 second, to hit that subscribe button, because here we train your English every single day, and you don't want to miss any of the new episodes that will help you finally speak confidently and naturally. All right, today we're talking about something extremely important: how to train your brain to speak English. Not memorize rules, not translate, not feel stuck, but truly speak. And I want you to imagine something before we start. Imagine that English is already inside you, somewhere in your mind, waiting to be activated, waiting to come out. Your goal is not to learn the language, but to teach your brain to access it instantly, without stress, without fear, without overthinking. That's what today's episode is about: English listening practice and brain training at the same time. And I want you to relax. Yes, relax. You might be walking, cooking, working out, sitting on a bus, whatever. Just let my voice flow into your mind. Don't force anything. Don't try to understand every word. Just listen and let your brain absorb the rhythm, the structure, the intonation, the patterns. This is how babies learn, and this is how you will learn too. People often think that speaking English starts with speaking. But actually, it starts with listening. When you listen a lot, your brain starts copying sounds automatically. It builds patterns on its own. It notices common combinations of words, the melody of sentences, the emotional tone. Think about how you learned your first language as a child. You didn't study grammar. You didn't read textbooks. You didn't force yourself to repeat phrases. You listened. You observed. You connected sound with meaning naturally. And the moment your brain had enough examples, you started speaking. So the first step to training your brain is immersion, but not the stressful type of immersion where you push yourself too hard. I'm talking about soft immersion, the type that feels like background noise, like music. You can listen while doing anything: cleaning your room, riding a bike, even playing games. Your brain will still learn. The second step is repetition. Not boring repetition where you say the same phrase 50 times in a row. That's torture. I'm talking about natural repetition, where the same ideas, structures, and words come back again and again in different forms. That's why podcasts are so powerful. You hear the same patterns, but in a new context each time. Today, I want to guide you through a small mental exercise, something like a workout for your brain. Imagine your brain as a muscle. When you use it, it grows. When you expose it to English, it changes. Right now, as you listen to me, your brain is literally rewiring itself. New neural connections are forming. Your mind is getting better at predicting what comes next, understanding faster, processing without translation. So let's start the exercise. Listen to these thoughts and let them float in your mind. You don't need to repeat them. You just need to imagine them. Imagine that you walk into a room full of people speaking English. Instead of freezing, you feel surprisingly calm. You don't translate, you don't panic, you just listen. And suddenly, you understand what they're talking about. Not every word, but the main idea. Your mind is relaxed, you feel comfortable. And then someone asks you a question. You take a breath, and the words come out. Maybe not perfectly, maybe a bit slowly, but naturally. This is the moment your brain has been training for. Now, imagine another situation. You open a YouTube video in English. Before, it felt like noise. Now, you catch more and more words. You understand phrases. You start predicting what the speaker will say next. You don't feel lost anymore. This is brain adaptation. This is growth. Now imagine you are speaking. You're telling a story to someone. The words come easier than before. You notice that you're not translating in your head. You're thinking in English. This ability doesn't appear suddenly. It grows from listening. The more you listen, the more you understand. The more you understand, the easier it becomes to speak. That's why listening practice is not optional, it's essential. Now let's talk about fear. Because most people don't speak English not because they don't know the words, but because they are afraid. Afraid of mistakes, afraid of judgment, afraid of sounding weird. But here's the truth. Mistakes are part of the process. You can't learn to speak without making them. Think of learning like walking. When you were a baby, you fell hundreds of times. Nobody laughed at you. Nobody said, Look at you. You can't even walk properly. People encouraged you, and eventually you walked. So why are you afraid of making mistakes in English? Because you think others expect perfection, but they don't. Native speakers don't care. They are used to accents. They are used to mistakes. English is spoken by millions of people around the world with different accents. There is no perfect English. There is only clear communication. So relax. Let go of perfection. Your goal is not to sound like a native speaker. Your goal is to express yourself. Now let's do another mental exercise. Imagine that every time you hear English, your brain becomes stronger. Imagine that every word you listen to becomes part of your memory. Picture your brain building a library of phrases, ideas, and sounds. Imagine shelves filling up slowly, step by step. 1 sentence today, 10 sentences tomorrow, 1,000 sentences in a month. And your brain organizes them automatically. You don't need to remember everything consciously. Just trust the process. Now, I want you to repeat something in your mind silently. I can speak English. Let it echo in your head, because it's true. You are learning, adapting, improving every day. You are not starting from zero. You already understand much more than you think. Even now, as you listen, you're improving. You're training your listening skills, your concentration, your vocabulary, your grammar, your pronunciation, all at once. Listening is the foundation of speaking, and you're doing it right now. Now let's continue. I want to dive deeper into how your brain actually learns languages. People think language learning is about memorizing rules, but your brain doesn't learn like a computer. It learns like a living organism, through patterns, rhythm, repetition, emotion, and context. When you hear the same structure again and again, your brain starts recognizing it automatically. For example, phrases like, I want to, I need to, I'm going to, I'm trying to, I think that, these patterns appear everywhere in English. And once your brain memorizes them, you can build hundreds of sentences without effort. Here's the magic. Listening gives you these patterns naturally. You don't even need to study them, you just absorb them. And later, when you speak, they come out by themselves. This is why people who listen a lot progress faster than people who study from textbooks. Textbooks explain. Listening transforms. Let's do another brain exercise. Imagine English as a river. When you listen, you step into the river. At first, the water feels too fast, too strong. You don't understand much, but the more time you spend in the water, the more comfortable you become. You start swimming without thinking. Your movements become automatic. And someday, you realize that the same river that scared you before now carries you forward effortlessly. That's how immersion works. Now, think about something important. Your environment. If you want to train your brain to speak English, you must surround yourself with the language. Just like a plant needs sunlight, your English needs exposure. You can change your phone language, watch English videos, listen to English podcasts, talk to yourself, read short posts online, write simple notes. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be consistent. Your brain loves consistency. Small actions every day are more powerful than studying for 3 hours once a week. So make English part of your daily routine. Listen in the morning, listen at night, listen while cooking, listen while exercising. Your brain will adjust. Now let's talk about thinking in English. People often ask, how do I stop translating? The answer is simple. You don't stop translating by force. You stop translating when your brain finally feels safe and familiar with the language. Translation is a survival mechanism. When your brain doesn't understand the environment, it tries to use what it already knows, your native language. But when English becomes familiar, the brain doesn't need translation anymore. It switches automatically. And the best way to make English familiar is, again, listening. So if you want to think in English, listen more. Over time, something magical will happen. Your thoughts will begin to appear in English. Maybe just one word, maybe a small phrase, maybe a simple idea. But that's the beginning. And the more you listen, the stronger this ability becomes. Now picture this scenario. You are sitting somewhere, maybe a cafe, a bus stop, a library, and suddenly you hear someone speaking English. You notice that you understand them. Not every detail, but enough. You don't panic, you don't freeze, you simply observe. And then maybe you join the conversation. This is how confidence grows. Confidence comes from experience. Experience comes from exposure. Exposure comes from listening. You see how everything connects. Now let's talk about speaking practice itself. Even if you don't have anyone to talk to, you can still practice. You can shadow, meaning you repeat after speakers in real time. You can speak to yourself while doing daily tasks. You can describe what you see around you. You can answer questions from YouTube videos. Speaking is not only conversation. Speaking is producing sound. Every time you say something in English, even to yourself, your brain learns. Your mouth muscles learn, your tongue learns, your accent improves, your fluency increases. And now, I want you to imagine something powerful. Imagine yourself 6 months from now. You've been listening to English every day. You've been practicing small speaking exercises. You've been watching videos, reading posts, thinking in English, absorbing the language naturally. And one day, you talk to someone in English, and you realize, wow, I'm speaking without fear. I'm speaking without translation. I'm expressing myself. That moment is real. It will come. But you have to stay consistent. And remember, perfection is not the goal. Communication is the goal. Progress is the goal. Growth is the goal. And now, as we come to the end of the second part, I want you to take a deep breath and acknowledge how much you've done today. You listened for a long time. You absorbed new patterns. You trained your brain. You practiced thinking in English. You imagined your future self. And all of this brings you one step closer to fluency. And if you want more episodes like this, more long listening practices, more brain training podcasts, make sure you subscribe to Daily English Talk. Because every day we grow together, we build confidence together, and we move toward your English speaking goals together. Thank you for listening. Thank you for training your brain today, and I'll see you in the next episode.